Yo, what is going on, everyone? It is your boy Pup. We are back with I think this is week 4 of the PWC. Sorry, this is coming out a little bit late. I got real busy last week. But you guys are getting double headers of both the GWA and the PWC, which will be super fun. No video for the PPDL this week as we have a bye in the playoffs. But our matchup next week, I just got it right before recording. We're playing against Jamal again. We destroyed them, but they're the number 3 seed and have a very scary team. But less about that, more about this PWC game. Right now we're at 2-1. We took a very tough loss last week. It was just brutal. Missing a hurricane, missing a triple axle. I mean, it's really tough. I should have just clicked low kick to end the game, but it is what it is. And I misplayed and I lost it. Could have done it myself, but the luck just wasn't there to help me either. But it is what it is. We're facing off against Mr. Grimes this week, who is 2-1 as well, with a much worse differential, but a very solid team and something that I don't match up very well into at all. They have Masquerada, which is just a better version of Weavile. Luckily, Weavile is a little bit faster, but I do expect potential Choice Scarf on their Masquerada this week. They also have Cyclizar, which is just annoying as a nice spinner, and really annoying just to be able to like knock off and be annoying for me. I've said annoying like 2 million times, but you know, you get the gist of it. They also have Thundurus, which is Prankster Pokemon, but is also just really fast, being able to outrun everything except for Weavile on my team, and threatens most of it offensively, so I wouldn't be surprised if that Pokemon comes. I don't think the Tauros Aqua is that good into me this week when I have the Decidueye, the Petrorunt, and the Rotom Wash. But it is a solid Pokemon in general, and it has a great speed tier versus me if they do want to bring it. I do think Pheasantipity has a great typing versus me, something that I very much struggle to kill, especially if Iron Treads is out of the picture. It's just super specially defensive, but it can run pretty Phys-Def in this matchup, since I do have a lot of physically defensive Pokemon, or physically offensive Pokemon with like Gouching Fire plus Weavile, that are really the Pokemon that are trying to threaten that thing, but very scary. They have Dio Defense, which is just like a spike setter. It also could be like Cosmic Power, Stored Power sort of stuff, as it is very stally with Recover, but you normally see it like Spikes, Seismic Toss, Thunder Wave, and then Teleport as a slow priority. They also have Mabosstiff on their team, which is pretty strong into me, seeing as though I have 2 defensive ghost types and not really have any Pokemon that wants to eat those hits, especially once my Hariyama tears out of its normal fighting type. So I could definitely see that coming as a like Choice Scarf, stakeout user. Just really destroys me. Heatran is very hard for me to kill when I do not have my my Iron Treads on the team, because I don't really have the best ground coverage. I mean, I have Earthquake in the Gouging Fire, but I very much assume for them to be Air Balloon in this game. But Shucka Berry could also work. Puts me in a pretty bad spot unless I'm able to get to +1 on Gouging Fire. But yeah, very scary Pokemon for me. Next is their Tera Captain, which is Farigiraf, which is just a great Tera Captain in general, something that I really wanted to use, and really wanted to draft it this season. It has a decent speed tier. It can run Trick Room, or it can be more offensive with like agility sort of stuff. I think that they will go with like, I don't know, Terra Fairy is solid, but if they are a little bit more afraid of Petrorunt and the Treads, I think Terra Ground looks really good into me. It also covers like the Terra Steel that I like to run a lot with my Hariyama, which, spoiler alert, is coming again. They also have Wartortle on the team, a slow, or a low tier Rabbit Spinner, just a solid Pokemon. And then Palossand is something that's really slept on, if I'm going to be completely honest. It's not that good in this matchup in general, because basically every Pokemon on my team beats it, but it's really good into a lot of matchups, but it shouldn't come here. But yeah, it's a really tough team for us to take down. Hopefully we're going to be able to do it, and we're going to need to do it off the back of our first Pokemon here, which is Weavile. This Pokemon outspeeds their entire team besides Scarfers, which there has to be at least 1 or 2 on their team. It doesn't get affected by Prankster from Thundurus, which is really nice, and Triple Axle destroys their entire team except for the Heatran. So if they want to switch into Heatran, I guess Wartortle as well could be a decent switch, but knockoff Eviolite is great for me. But they want to switch in, maybe get a Flame Body. That's why we are Protective Pads on the set. We can Revenge Kill them if we have enough chip on them. We can click Low Kick. I am very worried about a Chople Berry, although I think it's a lot more likely that they're going to be Air Balloon or Shucka to deal with my Iron Treads. But Chople is still very scary. But if we get that Pokemon out of the way, then I mean, the only thing that can really take me on is Tauros, which I guess could run a more like physically defensive set. But nothing really wants to take the hits from this guy. Next up on the team is going to be a Spikes Diancie. This is going to be my designated lead in most of the matchups here. I should be able to always live a hit from Meowscarada unless they are adamant. Choice Banded Flower Trick I think is a roll. Even in that situation, we should live that most of the time. We can get a nice Trick Room up against the Meowscarada. And then threaten them out with Moonblast. We have Scorching Sands for the Heatran that hits it pretty hard and breaks a potential Shuca Berry on that Pokemon. The Spikes are just great versus their team. They do have a nice spinner in Cyclizar, but we have a good spin blocker in our next Pokemon here, which is going to be the Pecharunt. And this Pokemon's really solid versus them. I have a Culver Berry because I do anticipate taking a knockoff from either Meowscarada or that Cyclizar. You can also take a hit from a boss if they do end up bringing that Pokemon, but more specially defensive on this one because I do worry a lot about like that Pheasantipity, which cannot do anything to Pecharunt really. I mean, like Beat Up is its best hit for us, I think. I mean, they might have some other options down the board, but we should be able to beat them. Even though we both have access to reliable recovery, unless they're a sort of calm mindset, which I think my team deals with decently well anyways. But yeah, more especially defensive, it can also take on stuff like the Heatran decently. I mean, obviously not 1v1ing that Pokemon, but I can take a hit and revenge kill it with Shadow Ball if it ever gets too low. Next up is the aforementioned Iron Treads that I had to bring in this matchup. A very good matchup for Iron Treads this week. We are booster energy speed, so we get to outrun everything on the board. And depending on what they have left in the game, I can just sweep. It's really hard for me to do that when they have a lot of bulky options like the Farigiraf that can be a Tera that'll just take me out in one shot, like the Deoxys. Those Pokemon can live one hit, so we need some chip on them. That's why I really like Spikes from Diancie. But, if we get into endgame where all that stuff is chipped, we can click Earthquake versus basically their entire team. We have Stealth Rocks as well, just in case we end up getting a free swap versus them, but maybe that should have been Iron Head because we don't hit the Meowscarada too hard. But if they are, out of their grass typing with Protean, or, if they're just decently low, I mean, we should be able to do like 40% to them with a nice boosted Earthquake there. And then Knockoff, I mean, it hits Pokemon like the Farigiraf. If they don't Tera, it hits something like Air Balloon on the Heatran if we need to get past that, but a really solid Pokemon in general that I'm going to need to leverage as my win con. Next, we have to bring our Tera Captain and Signature, which is Hariyama. Tera Steel this week with a Moringa Berry. That boosts my special defense if I get hit by a special move. So if we end up taking something like, a stray hit like a Flash Cannon from Heatran on switch-in or something like that, if we take like a Sludge Bomb from Pheasantipity, if we could get a Guts boost from that, we could be in a solid position after that. Even a Heat Wave from that Pokemon we should be able to take decently well and then get our boost. We have Bulk Up to get +1 defense and +1 attack. And then those Drain Punches are really going to hurt versus their team. Their only switch-ins are really the Deoxys defense and the Pheasantipity. Deoxys gets destroyed by Knockoff, especially for Guts boosted, but they can't do anything back to me with Guts since they, really just want to click Seismic Toss or T-Wave versus us. And then we have Bullet Punch, which should hurt the Pheasantipity, especially if they're more especially defensive. But if we bulk up a bunch of times, we should be able to destroy it with a stab Bullet Punch with Tera Steel. We have a decent amount of speed on this thing, just trying to speed creep that Farigiraf if possible. But we'll see if that actually happens, whether they're very offensive and like agility oriented or more Trick Room. And the last Pokemon on my team, obviously got to bring the Gouging Fire. Looks great in this matchup, but it's a little bit more of an interesting set. I brought Dragonance plus Dragon Tail, which helps us in the case that they are Air Balloon on the Heatran. I could not just run Earthquake. I really wanted to run Dragonance, Morning Sun, Heat Crash, Earthquake, but if they're Air Balloon, they just completely wall me with that Pokemon. So I brought Dragon Tail and a more bulky set on this Pokemon. My HP EVs are wrong. It should be 224. So we have a lot of HP investment on this Pokemon. Should be able to live a ton of hits, especially from that Heatran if they're not rocking the Earth Power, which I don't know if they have room to fit that in this game, wanting to run like Stealth Rocks, Taunt, Magma Storm, Flash Cannon versus us. We'll see what they end up bringing, but we are Lumberry just in case that Deoxys defense gets out and clicks a T-Wave versus us. We can get statused by the Thundurus as well. But yeah, just a solid Pokemon in this matchup if we're able to ever get it going. Heat Crash is very good into 90% of their team, and You know, we don't need the Dragon Tail all the time. It's a really fun set, though, that I haven't really tried, but I know it can do a lot of good work. If we're ever able to set it up and get a good opportunity, we're going to have to see if that happens. If you guys do enjoy the draft content, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because there's a lot more coming in the near future. This whole week is going to be basically full. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday uploads. Saturday, Sunday we have ICP and the KCDL, and then all 5 days next week are held up by PPL and X. Really fun league. I'm playing my last game tonight for that, and yeah, hopefully we do pretty well in all these leagues. That's about it for me. Let's get to the battle. Alright, we are here connected to Mr. Grimes. They brought Wartortle. Why did they bring Wartortle? I mean, it's a spinner, sure, which makes this game a little bit harder for me. I'm assuming no spin on Cyclizar then, because they're probably running that. Or they could be Shell Smash on the Wartortle. I guess could make a lot of sense. It does look pretty solid in this matchup, not gonna lie. They have their Farigiraf, obviously. They brought Meowscarada, Heatran, Fezandipity, Cyclizar, Wartortle. Very, very interesting. I think Diancie is just a great lead overall for me. We have the Mental Herb to get past Taunt on Meowscarada. We always live a banded Flower Trick. If they're adamant, it's in my favor to live, which they shouldn't be. I guess they could be, but they shouldn't be, because then Iron Treads would be able to outrun them. Also could just straight off lead with Iron Treads. They have to respect the Ice Spinner or, you know, fighting move from that Pokemon. Petron's also just a solid lead. If they want to click knockoff versus me, we get a Colbur Berry and we just get a nice big hit off versus them. But I mean, Diancie makes too much sense as our lead. It's just the Pokemon that's leading. I really like how Meowscarada looks or how Weavile looks in this game. I have said that Meowscarada is just a better Weavile, but Weavile does have the better speed tier here, which is nice, and the protective pads means we don't have to worry about Heatran, which low kick that Pokemon. Need some chip on it. Gotta make sure that they're not Choppleberry, or else they can put us in a pretty bad situation. And I'm assuming that's probably gonna be like very Fizz Def on that Pokemon. Try to deal with my my Weavile, try to deal with Gouging Fire. That's why we're Dragon Tail set on that, which is a very nice set in this game to make sure that Wartortle doesn't just destroy me as well. They're going to lead with the Bust, which is the Heatran. That's fine. I actually don't mind that too much. We do threaten them with a Scorching Sands, but if they are... obviously, they can click Flash Cannon versus us. Let's see how much this does. Flash Cannon. I mean, even if they're not offensive, it's going to one-shot. So it's a tough situation for me for sure. I mean, we just switch out. It's not that big. We can go Gouging is fine. We also could go... I don't know. I think Gouging is totally fine. I do like the Hariyama as well. We could potentially see them try to, you know, get a Flame Body on us. We get our Guts boost from that, which would be good. We can keep our Fighting type for now. I do think Gouging is fine. Get a Dragon Tail off. I didn't see Air Balloon, which is actually insane that we didn't see that. I'm going to make the Gouging play. Or Hariyama. I am not starting off on the right foot here. We go Hariyama. They're just going to set up rocks. It's totally fine. I'm assuming this is more defensive. Maybe, I mean, physically defensive makes a lot of sense in this game. But they don't do too much to us. I do like the bulk up play. I think Drain Punch is also just fine. We would get rid of a potential Choppleberry on them. I also could Knock, just predicting maybe Fez to want to come in here. Yeah, let's click Knock. I do think Fez should probably want to come in this turn. Or whatever they bring in, it'll be fine. Yeah, Fez and Skivity. Fez and Skivity. I mean, this is not going to do very much to them. They are Rocky Helmets. Okay, makes sense for them to be more defensive on this set. I mean, Terra Steel, they don't have great ways to beat it unless they are Heat Wave. Heat Wave will do a little chunk to us, nothing too crazy. I can click Bulk Up in their face. And I mean, +1 Bullet Punch does a good chunk to this Pokemon. That Knock did, what, 5-10% to them, so they're definitely very defensive. They're max defense. I would probably say Bold. I do kind of want to stay in, though. I don't know. I feel like the U-turn makes too much sense here. But if they click like a Moonblast or something, it does put me in a little bit of a bad spot. I don't want them to get a free swap. Let's go Pecharunt. We go to Pecharunt. It can't get poisoned. Doesn't matter if they click the Play Rough or Moonblast into me, whatever. If they U-turn out, they go maybe into Meowscarada, which we can punish since we are Culper Berry. So they're just going to click Heat Wave. Just straight up, does no damage. Do get a burn, though. They're so lucky, man. 10%. Of course they would get that. You love to see it. I can recover here. I don't know if they have a great swap. Potentially out to Heatran, but we're just going to go for it. Yeah, they're going to U-turn, get a slow parting shot out for us, though. Unless they're Clear Amulet on some Pokemon. If it's Meowscarada with Clear Amulet, that could be a little bit tough because I'm not sure at this point if we will we'll be fine. But yeah, they just go out to this Pokemon. That's totally fine with me. Gonna get -1, -1. I mean, I can go Treads now if I want. I'm not sure that they might end up being specially defensive. But if they're Shucka Berry, which it very, very much seems like they could or should be, then that puts me in a little bit of a tough situation with going out to Treads. I think we're going to go out to Gouging Fire here. Gouging Fire is a little bit of an interesting choice versus this guy. Especially if they're like offensive Earth Power. It does put me in a decent bad spot. Let me click Dragon Tail this turn. Yeah, they're just going to click Earth Power. We get a C of their set. We're just going to Dragon Tail them out. It looks specially defensive from that damage to me. We can Morning Sun back up, so it's not the biggest deal. Yeah, they get out to Fez, which is probably the worst thing we could have seen. Because I don't want to get Toxiced by this Pokemon. Even if they're, you know, if they're physically defensive, Heat Crash is fine here. It's a solid option. I could also Morning Sun. I can even Dragon Dance, but we're going to Heat Crash. If they go back out to Heatran, that's okay. I don't have a great way of breaking through this core just yet, though. As do they just go hard back out to it? Yeah, they do. Man, if I just ran Earthquake on this, I would have been so fine. This Flash Fire, right? Yeah. Alright, gonna be Flash Fire. Not the biggest deal. I'm gonna click Morning Sun once versus them, as they are just fast. They are incredibly fast. Alright. And if they're Shucka Berry versus our Iron Treads, we should still be able to knock it out from this range. So I'm going to go out to it. Based on that, they do not have a lot of HP investment. And even if they're max HP, this is still a roll. So we're going to get our speed boost going here. Yeah, it's a roll even if they're max HP on this Pokemon. And Earthquake is just insanely free versus them. I'd love to be able to Rapid Spin as well in this game. Once we get Weavile coming in, then I can look pretty solid in this game. Yeah, they're going to be Shucka. I figured this. This should die still. Yes, they do. Okay, perfect. I am so glad that they gave me that Pokemon. We are full offensive. I mean, like max Jolly. They probably expected more of a, you know, HP and speed set as you usually see. But if they're max HP, that's a roll probably in their favor at that point. If they are little HP, then it always killed. And by the fact that they were very, very fast, most likely timid. Yeah, most likely timid. Very fast, probably a decent amount of special attack investment. I didn't think that they were going to have the investment to be able to live that hit, even with Shucka. Yeah. Even if they're like, you know, 124 or something, it's definitely in my favor at that point. And what did they bring in here? I mean, Meowscarada has to fear the Ice Spinner at this point, even though we will just click Rapid Spin versus them. They're going to go out to it. I mean, we're just going to click Rapid Spin. I don't think we ever died to this Pokemon. If they are Low Kick. Low Kick is a roll. 327, it's in our favor to be able to live that. Yeah, we just Rapid Spin. Yeah, they're not Choice Scarfed, which is nice to see. We're going to get just a little bit of damage on this Pokemon. We'll see if they end up... They're Break. Okay. We should live this, for sure. Yeah. Easily live that hit. And now that they're a fighting type... Earthquake looks like it's not a kill here. Just looks like it's not, unfortunately. I would love to get my own Stealth Rocks up, but they're not that great in this game. And if this Pokemon knocks me out with another hit, then I just go out to Weavile and I click, Ice Shard versus them. Yeah, let's go for an Earthquake here. We're gonna get a lot of damage off on this Pokemon. If we ever get a Spike Up, we should be fine. That should take them out. I doubt that they're gonna be heavy duty boots on this variant, especially when they have 2 spinners in the game. But I do have a very good spin blocker. It is Burn though. I'm getting that Heat Wave Burn early. It just makes it harder for my Pecharunt to do what it's supposed to do in this game. Yeah, let's get this Earthquake off. They actually look like they have some HP investment as Iron Treads goes down here. Alright, I mean, that's totally fine. We can just go straight out to Weavile. And I'd love to click Knock Off on a switch. I mean, it's so telegraphed. There's no way that they stay in, right? They've got to go Wartortle. I guess they could even go... No, I'm going to predict them. They never stay in here. They're going to go Wartortle. That Eviolite Pokemon. Nope, they stayed in. Okay, we probably just lose the game. That's a just very dumb play for them to make. I don't know why they would ever do that in a million years. It just does not make any sense. We'll go out to Diancie here. I will go for the Trick Room on this turn. Maybe I should have just Ice Sharded, but if they go out to Wartortle, it puts me in a really bad position. Yeah, just not a play that makes very much sense. You want to keep your Meowscarada around. It's the fastest thing on the field. Still is really good into my team. Being able to knock off my Pecharunt and just hurt my Hariyama and Diancie. Can't believe I let them get the stupidest play off. I mean, based off this, they could be some sort of choice. I mean, I could have just clicked Ice Shard, though. They're going to go up to Fezandipity. I wish I was more offensive. I really do. I mean, I know that they're not especially defensive at all, but this Scorching Sands isn't really going to do very much. Hopefully we get a burn. It's a lot more likely than a Heat Wave burn. I'll tell you that, and they got that. But probably won't, just, based on how the luck goes for me usually. Do a decent chunk. Nothing great. Oh, wow. Wow, we get some return hacks. Love to see it. So they're just going to U-turn out. That's fine with me. Okay, they're going to get their Toxic Chain. That's... Come on. What was that, a third chance of happening? 30%? Probably. Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything about the luck, because then it just comes to bite me every time. Every single game I play, it seems. And they're going to go out into this Farigiraf. This Pokemon is a threat. And this thing, I mean, it can just set up and be a menace versus me. Moonblast does a good amount of damage if they're not especially defensive. If they are like Calm Mind, then it puts me in a nasty, nasty spot. So they're going to Tera. Hope this is not like Steel or anything to resist this. Like Fire would be tough for me. They're Tera Ground. Makes sense. Yeah, try to hit like the Petron. I mean, we're just gonna be able to get a nice little Moonblast off. Maybe a little special attack drop. No, nothing of the sorts. Max attack. We do live. Do we die to the Toxic? Yeah, and even that was a complete max roll that they got there. That's max quiet nature. That is crazy. Okay, we're gonna go out to Hariyama here. Do I Tera on the yeah, I mean I do Tera every time, right? I just have to. Trick Room should be over after this turn, right? Am I right? No, there's still 2 more turns at Trick Room. Alright, I'm gonna click Drain Punch this turn. I should do a decent chunk. I mean, this game has just not gone very well. This Pokemon might be Armor Tail, so I might not even be able to click Bullet Punch into them. I might just have to try it, though, based on how this is going. I will get a +1 boost to my Spadef. Man, if they didn't get that stupid Toxic Chain on me, I would have been totally fine to get another hit on this Pokemon and bulk up with Hariyama the next turn, be +1 while the Trick Room ends to be faster than this Pokemon. And they're just going to Tera Blast. Okay, man. Maybe they're choice specs. Yes, they are. Okay. Good game to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed. That's going to be about it for me. See you guys in the next one.